what do we got? Life, the universe, and someone. So remember those topics: life, the universe, and someone, because we will certainly be coming back to them. So here we go. So 2011, it says right here on the book, I wrote the Married Man Sex Life Primer 2011. And as I've always said, do not ever put a number in the title because it dates the book. Now, what the book was about was basically helping sort of nerdy, soft, gentle, overly nice guys do a whole lot better in their marriages by basically becoming a little more direct, dominant, and playful and upbeat and all that sort of things. So the big breakthrough with the Married Man Sex Primer was taking the 3 love systems, so the 3 biological bases for the 3 different types of love there are. So the physical desire from just straight up testosterone, the attractiveness from dopamine, and the peer bonding from oxytocin and vasopressin. And then I linked alpha to dopamine and I linked beta to the oxytocin vasopressin. And that was a really big breakthrough for a lot of people, in that it made it clear that biology played a huge role in attraction. And then I tied them all together and basically said there's going to be a progression, a journey going to be on. You're going to do things to increase the alpha, do things to increase your beta, balance them out, and that was called the Male Action Plan. Now, underneath the surface of this, I did not mention this at all explicitly in the book, but the law of attraction is actually a big part of it. Because the basis of the 3 love systems is if you want people to be attracted to you, you have to be attractive. You have to send out something into the universe for people to be attracted to, and then they become attracted to you, and then they act attracted to you. That basically is the law of attraction, just put slightly differently. So the law of attraction almost always talked about thoughts and feelings, and this was very much talking about your actions and how you're presenting yourself. So I never made the law of attraction plain in the book, but it is there sort of ticking under the surface. So that was that one. Let's move that over there somewhere. The next book I wrote was How to Answer Do These Pants Make My Ass Look Fat? It is a collection of blog posts. We can dispense with that. The next one I wrote was the Mindful Attraction Plan. And this is a far more whole life sort of energy based sort of thing. And it starts off with the premise of trying to answer the question of, when people read the primer, this one, it worked either really, really well for them or it didn't seem to work at all. And for the people who it worked really, really well for, they were reporting all sorts of things unrelated to fixing their relationship. They lost weight, they got a new job, they finished a degree, they had some other big problem in their life resolved and pushed out, and their whole lives were coming together, and their relationship improving was part of that. But for the other people, it didn't work nearly so well. So this was trying to answer that question. Why does it work for some and not for others? And what I talked a lot about in the Mindful Attraction Plan is the 3 different energy states, the red, yellow, and green. Is it draining, is it stagnant, or is it flowing? But the basic principle being, stop doing all the red things that is draining your life, do all the green things that are giving energy to your life, and then the yellow stagnant ones take a little bit longer, and you basically have to work hard at them and slowly unpick them one by one. And that was called the Mindful Attraction Plan. And it was very much, there's still a progression based on the Male Action Plan from the first book. And again, the law of attraction is ticking over in the background. It was made slightly more explicit, but it was pretty quiet. So that is the second one, and that was 2013. In 2015, I created a video series called The Married Guy's Guide to Wife. And that came in not 1 part, not 2 parts, not 3 parts. This is hard to do. Pick up. 3 parts, 4 parts, and 5 parts. And then it also came with an all-purpose collecting everything together into all 6 parts. So this is all about some of the stuff that I've talked about before. So let's just move that there. It goes back to talking about the oldies but goldies, the 3 love systems, just like the primer. And then because alpha and beta had become so confusing, because it was the way I had been using it in the primer was very much being started to be used in quite different ways online. So I was battling for control of the concepts, and rather than trying to battle for control, I just sort of let them go and just talked about building attraction and building relationship comfort. And basically what this series did was take the male action plan and the mindful attraction plan, jam them together, and call them the chain of seduction. And the way the chain of seduction, and it was pretty successful in that, and the way the chain of seduction works is by saying, okay, each of these 3 love systems comes in sort of 2 parts. There's sort of a set of 3 advertisements for the 3 love systems, and there's a set of 3 actual delivery systems of the 3 love systems. So I mean, you could be presenting outwardly and doing all these cool things and presenting as this fun, awesome, attractive guy. So that's the advertisement you're going to be fun to be in a relationship with. But then there's the question, are you actually delivering that one-on-one? Are you actually engaging in fun and stimulating once you're in a relationship? And it's the same with comfort. You can present a lot of warmth and emotion and express loyalty and commitment. So that's the advertisement. And then there is the actual delivery. Are you actually someone who is going to be relaxing to be in a relationship with? Are you constantly making her anxious? Does she feel actually safe and secure and all that sort of stuff? So that was all tied together. There's 6 different links in the chain of seduction, and relationship momentum was finally introduced in this series too. We're talking about there's a real progression and what you can basically expect to get from in terms of results. I do run into a longer term problem though, in that in this series I call attraction the 2nd link, and I call energy the 5th link. It does make sense in context of the chain of seduction. It does work, but I got stuck on those names to a degree, and we will come back to that. And then I go into my difficult funk. I do the nice card, mean card video series, and that's fine. Then I have the heart attack and sick, and then I've spent a long time trying to figure out what the next thing is. And I come up with all sorts of topics I could do. I could do a book about cheating. I could do a book about captain and first officer and relationship power. I could do a book about dealing with being too nice. I could do a book about dealing with the partner who is highly sensitive. And then I don't know what I'm going to call it. Maybe I'm going to call it the dateable marriage. Maybe I should call it relationship momentum. In desperate moments of panic of what am I going to do next, I call it dangerously monogamous. And this is even a sort of a joke title book, which is dangerously monogamous, using overconfidence to be more awesome than you are fat. So I have all these things floating around. So then I do actually get around to do the nice card, mean card book to just unstick myself. And that actually has bits about the sensitive spouse. It has a lot about power dynamics. I don't do anything about cheating because it's really draining to deal with. And there's a whole lot about standing up for yourself and listening and all that. And standing up for yourself and protecting your boundaries and all that sort of stuff. So that is all really good. That works. So I've had all these things that I'm trying to jam together into one coherent system. And like I say, it all comes back to life, the universe, and someone. So the thing that I'm working on now, my giant aha moment, is that I've been trying to solve all these problems simultaneously in each different topic. What I really need, and I'm going to rearrange it slightly, what I really need is a relationship book that solves a relationship problem, I really need a life energy book that solves a life energy problem, and I really need a spiritual book that solves a spiritual problem. And the way I'm going to do that is I've found a way to connect, and these really are sort of three different topics in a sense. I found a way to make the three love systems still play into the six links, just like the chain of seduction, but take away that question of attraction as the second link and energy as the fifth link, and bake in the question of attraction and energy into each of the six individual links. So that problem is certainly solved. And then there's still the progression, and still turns into a practical plan, because you still have to do the higher energy, positive, more attractive thing in each of the six links, and it still turns into a practical plan. And the law of attraction question is far more sort of baked in and apparent. You don't actually need to believe in the law of attraction or even care about it or any of that sort of stuff, because it's going to work regardless, because what you're doing in each of these six links to be the higher energy, more attractive thing is going to be completely self-apparent. And it's going to go back into the biology of the three love systems. Still going to talk about dopamine, oxytocin, testosterone, all that sort of stuff. Still going to talk about the time before writing and how we were long ago. So that is that. The life energy question. Yeah, let's get that slightly the other way. The life energy question, I'm still going to talk about red, yellow, green. It's going to far more deal with the problem of just, are you tired? What's actually energizing you? So I'm going to talk a lot about burnout and flow states, and again, the thing of attraction and energy, and talking about the thing of the six different parts of your life, which are going to align pretty much with these six links over here, but in a far more individualized, what is actually making you feel better. And rather than trying to deal with, should you leave your relationship or whatever, if the relationship is truly dead, it's going to be treated as part of a beating blockage sort of deal. And again, the law of attraction thing is sort of baked in. And the final one, the spiritual book, I think we're getting all cluttered here. The spiritual book, see, if you think this is cluttered, imagine my mind. The spiritual book that solves the spiritual problem, these are questions like, who are you? What do you want? What are your spiritual beliefs? What do you believe about the world and the nature of reality and the universe? And it's going to go a lot into trying to find your life purpose and finding meaning for your individual life. And it's going to dig in a lot into personality typing. Because what one person needs to do to find their place in the world is very, very different than other people. And most people who are sort of spiritual teacher types are usually teaching spirituality around solving the problem that is their problem, and they treat their problem like everybody is also facing the same problem. An Enneagram 5 is facing a very different set of problems than an Enneagram 8. A 3 is facing very different problems than a 2. So that really plays a lot into it. And it's a whole lot about positive energy versus negative energy, being your best self, and accepting and being at peace with the imperfections of yourself and the imperfections of the world and the universe and all that sort of stuff. And all of this must be co-ed, advertiser-friendly, and positive. Otherwise, I can't sell it. It's not fun to write. If it's not positive, it ends up attracting negativity into my life, and that makes me sick and tired and exhausted. And it really has to be co-ed. I know I've talked about this stuff before, in that most of the early stuff is directed at guys, which is fine. But I actually suspect when it comes to most relationships, women are far better aware when the relationship is struggling and getting into trouble. And by the time the guy is aware of it, often we are approaching too late. So that is what's going on. And it all comes back to life, the universe, and someone. So these are the three next topics I'm going to be digging on. I'm sure I'll do more after that, but these are my big three. So And that's my meaning, and that's my purpose, and what I'm doing. So that's about it, and I will talk to you soon.